Hello everyone. Today we are going to be talking about exponents, and I'm in the Halloween and fall mood, so I was thinking eerie exponents because I was in the mood. So we've kind of briefly just talked about what an exponent is. We're going to dive in and do an I do, we do, you do, so we really understand all the little ins and outs of exponents. So the first one, I'm going to zoom in on 3 times 3 times 3. Remember, we talked about there's a base and an exponent, and this is written, it's expanded, so we want to condense it. So a 3 is repeated over and over again. That's our base. And then we look at how many factors of that are there, or how many times is it repeated? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 3 to the 4th. Not bad, right? All right. So you are going to try this one. Think about it. What would it be? Pause the video and write your answer down. Okay, hopefully you paused the video, wrote your answer down. I see that 4/5 is going to be my base because it's the thing repeated over and over again. I'm going to put parentheses around that, and I see that it's repeated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So I'm going to write this as 4/5 repeated to the 5th. And do you see I put parentheses all the way around that? Okay, awesome. You are going to do this one. When you are done, please raise your hand so you can get a nice little star from me. Okay, hopefully that went awesome for you. Next one, will you write this little word? Ooh, I am not being able to zoom in. Okay, come on, Mrs. Stubbs' iPad. It says evaluate. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Evaluate. All right, so we are actually going to expand this and find out what the answer to this is. So this one is -10 to the 4th. So let's go ahead and expand that. So I'm going to take my base, -10, and I'm going to repeat that 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, do you see how I take the negative every single time? If the negative is in the parentheses, we take that negative every single time. If that negative is outside the parentheses, we only put the negative at the very end, only one time. I'll show you more examples of that, but kind of start thinking about that now. So I have -10 multiplied 4 times. So we're going to do this together. -10 times -10 is +100. Then I have to take that times -10, 100 times -10, which is -1,000. And now I have to take -1,000 times -10, and I get +10,000. Do you see how we did that there? We take each chunk, multiply the first two, then the next one, then the next one. So I end up getting a +10,000 because there were 4 negatives in a row. Okay? All right, so this is the next we do one. 0.4 raised to the 3rd. Woohoo, we get some fractions. 0.4 to the 3rd. All right, so we would write this out as 0.4 times, and I'm going to use that x even though I don't like it, 0.4 times 0.4, right? So I have that 3 times. And you can even write those zeros in if you would prefer the 0 in front of it here. So 0.4 times 0.4 times 0.4 isn't going to make a difference. But now you're actually going to have to multiply them. So I'm going to take 0.4 times 0.4. And if you remember, this is how we got to set it up. So 4 times 4 is 6. Carry the 1. 4 times 0 is 0. But then I add 1, so I get 1. I had 2 decimals, so I move this 1, 2. So my answer would be 0.16. Okay, I did that. Now I handled these two. You need to take 0.6 times that last 0.4. I'm going to let you do that, pause the video, and then check in with me if you got the right answer. Okay, hopefully when you did that, you got 0.064. If you're struggling with that multiplication, will you please raise your hand and have me come help you just so we can knock that out right now and we're not struggling with those multiplication issues when we're multiplying decimals. All right, this last one, 3 to the 4th, this is all you. So you've got to expand it all the way and multiply it and tell me what it is. So when you get the answer, raise your hand and I'll come check it for you. All right, we've got a couple more to do. We've got -12 squared. Now notice this one doesn't have the parentheses on the negative, it doesn't have those parentheses around the negative part. So that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, where this negative did have it inside. So I took negative 10 times negative 10 times negative 10. This one doesn't. So I'm going to leave the negative on the outside, and I'm just going to repeat the 12 2 times. 12 times 12 first. 12 times 12, I hope we know, are 12s, 144, and then I just slide that negative sign in. So I leave that negative for the very end. Does that kind of make sense? Whereas if the negative was on the inside, I would repeat the negative. So there's two different things going on there. Kind of make a star for yourself so you remember the difference between these two problems. That's a really big issue, and you're going to see that come up quite a bit. Okay. Next one, we have a fraction that we're going to repeat, and we haven't really seen something like this, so I'm going to kind of do it with you. It's negative 2/5 squared. So when I have negative 2/5 squared, I am going to repeat that negative 2/5 times negative 2/5, and you're going to repeat it again. And then if you remember with fractions, you multiply straight across. So this would be negative 2 times negative 2. And I am going to keep that negative with the numerator. So negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 2. And then don't even worry about the negative for the bottom. I just either put it with the numerator or put it with the denominator. And then I'm going to take 5 times 5, which is 25. I'm going to think about if I could reduce 4/25 at all, if I could make it simpler, if I could divide both the top and the bottom by something they have in common. But they don't, so that's my answer. That kind of makes sense? Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit easier one. You try this next one, negative 1 to the 9th, and you tell me what that answer is, please. So pause the video, make sure you raise your hand and have Mrs. Stubbs check that one. Whew! Guys, this is becoming a lot longer of a video than I thought it would. I have 1/2 to the 0. I have a special rule. If you see this raised to the 0 at any time, you're going to say, hip, hip, hooray. Woohoo! Hip, hip, hooray if you see it raised to the 0, because that means less work for you. Anything raised to the 0 power is just 1. The whole answer becomes 1. So if you see something raised to the 0 power, you say, hip, hip, hooray, less work for me. The answer is 1, okay? All right, I did that one. I'm actually going to have you do these next two, please. I think I've kind of taught you all that you need to know about exponents. So go ahead, do these two, and then get your answers checked by me. All right, guys, thanks for joining me.